Should the church keep families crazy busy? This is Pastor Timothy Board, co-founder and director of Grace Family Ministries. Our mission is advancing the cause of Christ to the ends of the earth, beginning right at home. Now in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 through 17, the Word of God gives us insight into the stewardship responsibility which we will be held accountable before God as far as time is concerned. The Word of God says this: "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Therefore do not be unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is." Many years ago, the late Dr. Howard Hendricks, longtime professor of Christian education and leadership at Dallas Theological Seminary in the great state of Texas, he wrote in the book Heaven Help the Home about a time that he was at a church and the pastor stuck the bulletin in his face and he said, "Look at that, Hendricks, something going on every night of the week." And Prof, as he was known, he to his students, he responded, he says, "You proud of that? I wouldn't be." He says, "What night of the week do you expect a man to prioritize his family life if he wants to get serious about leading well at home?" And so, once again, at Grace Family Ministries, one of our three dynamics of advancing the cause of Christ at the ends of the earth is strengthening church and family as co-champions of the next generation. And undergirding that is the importance of the scheduled priorities of God's time to be restructured in these types of things. So it's important to not be so crazy busy with extracurricular activities and sports activities. And let's face it, athletic prowess in our country is increasingly an idolatrous obsession that is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, competitors against the church for the time and the money of the family, especially in the formative season of life as far as raising children is concerned. And I submit to you that it also is one of the greatest factors that inoculates young children from the dead serious gospel urgency of the Christian worldview and the gospel of grace. And so if they have very limited exposure and familiarity with the local church and the corporate gathering together of God's people in worship of the true and living God and the preaching and teaching of the Word of God, because of limited exposure, limited involvement in these types of things, and because it's like, "Oh yeah, son, church is important, but we're willing to miss church because, we got a tournament this weekend," and these types of things. And this is a serious issue in our culture. And so at Grace Family Ministries, our passion is advancing the cause of Christ to the ends of the earth, beginning right at home. And one of the many ways we do so, as far as our advancing dynamics, is strengthening church and family to not be in competition with one another, not be in conflict with one another, but to affirm the conviction of the solid theology of the family and the singing of God's praise and intergenerational worship, but also the scheduled priorities of God's time as we endeavor to redeem the time and to walk circumspectly, not like chickens with their head cut off and just running around just crazy busy all the time, and that we're never ever able to prioritize church involvement, and even in tandem with that, even more important as far as literally on the grassroots level, as far as stepping up at home, so far as family supper time, family worship time, and therefore strengthening, enriching the local church. The health and vitality of the local church is reflected by the health and vitality of the home. And so thank you for praying for this ministry. Check us out online at www.gracefamilyministries.org. Soli Deo Gloria.